The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. Of course, I'm your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Lots to get to, so I won't delay. I'll get straight to the proceedings this evening. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn spoke at the presser prior to practice today. Topics included 53-man roster, the Brian Robinson Jr. trade, just to clean that up because they hadn't heard from Adam Peters in terms of that trade. Obviously, the Terry situation among the big topics at that press conference. So we'll get to that here in a second. Before we do any of that, as we always do, we'd like to start here with some house cleaning. So let's get that out of the way. The Commanders have started the process of putting their practice squad together. Now, remember, practice squad consists of, I think it's 16 players, right? The number could be 17 because they always say 70 players. But I always just feel like they're rounding up. 17 is such a weird number, but it could be 17. I think it's 16. Anyway, you know what? I'm sick and tired of guessing, right? I've been saying that I believe that it's been 16 since they moved the number up from where it used to be. Let's just see. How many players on an NFL practice squad? All right. 17. So it's 70 for us because, so I was right. It is 16 technically, but because we got the International Pathway Program and we have a player from that pathway program in TJ Mag, we get 70 players. So this list that you see in front of you consists of 14 guys. So there's still 3 spots available, which is going to come into play in a second when we talk about a rumor that is starting to spread that I am happy about and I hope it's true. That said, I tried to predict. Remember, I said this is a really bad exercise because this is a really bad list of players, basically, right? So I said that I didn't think I would come close to, picking the list of players because it was just tough, right? But you knew they were going to keep a lot of the guys that were young, that they brought in here, that were undrafted, that they want to see more of. So a lot of this list makes sense. Then it's the veterans that they think can help. So you want to keep those guys kind of close to you so that if you need to pull one of these guys up on a Sunday, you can. So it's a good mix of that. Again, I don't necessarily love all of the names on this list, but again, if we get to these guys in certain positions, you're doomed anyway, right? Anyhow, Ricky Barber was a guy that I thought they could. I didn't put him on my list. I should have, because he's an undrafted that they want to take a longer look at from this past year. We knew Ja'Cory Brooks. I got 8 out of the 14 that are listed, I believe. Let's count them up. So I had Ja'Cory Brooks, so that's one. I had Lawrence Cager. I told you, they like what he brings to the table. He's a mismatch. Can he put on some weight? He could play special teams as well. So I figured that would be a guy they liked. I had him on my list. Lawrence Cager at the tight end position. We know Sheldon Day is a Commander practice squad staple, okay? So you knew he was going to be back. Had him. So that's 3. Michael Dieter. He's back. I tried to keep him away, and I said, they're going to bring his ass back, aren't they? I was hoping somebody else would be like, oh, you cut Michael Dieter. I'll take him. They was like, no, we're good. You can have him back. Michael Dieter. Antonio Hamilton Sr., I had him on the list. I told you DQ talked very glowingly about Antonio Hamilton after that last preseason game, and it was unprompted. When a coach talks about a guy unprompted, it usually means that they like that guy. Again, I like reading in between the lines. The same thing I said about Chris Moore. I said, I don't like this shit. He brought up Chris Moore. Nobody was asking him shit about Chris Moore a week ago, before the last preseason game. And he wants to tell us, yeah, Chris Moore should be back for this game. I don't give a shit. He should have been cut after the first game. So I said, they like Chris Moore. God damn it, they like Chris Moore. So Antonio Hamilton Sr., I had him. So that's 4. Sam Hartman. What is he doing here? You know what? I'm not going to be like that. Sam Hartman has a role here. He is Jaden Daniels' warm-up basketball guy. So there is a role for him. He has carved out a niche for himself. Welcome back, Sam. Welcome back. Jalen Holmes had him on the list. I think he was one of the last guys to get cut. I really, truly believe they got down to about 55, and he was either the 54th or 55th guy on the roster. And he got cut. But I knew he was going to be back. Jacoby Jones, he was on my list as well. TJ Mag, obviously that's a no-brainer. I didn't even put him on the list because I just figured he'd be back, right? He's a part of the IPP. Rob McDaniel was on my list. Another guy, I actually like him and I want to see more, and I knew they did as well. Timothy McKay, again, another undrafted that I knew they were going to want to see. He was on the list as well. I don't know why he's back here. There is some infatuation with Chris Moore that I just can't explain. I don't know what it is. I don't like it because he can't catch, and that's a problem for me. But he's here, and I'm going to let you know right now, if they feel like they need to pull a veteran up, he'll be the guy that they pull up, unfortunately. And he's played in the NFL, so I don't want to shit on him. He's played in the NFL. He's made plays in the NFL. But this shit that we saw from him this year wasn't good enough. Just simply was not good enough. So there's Chris Moore. There's Carlin Vigors. Even though he's contact adverse, they still want to see more. I guess. I was good. I was good on Carlin Vigors. Again, I told you I would have brought Isang Bassey back. But again, Carlin Vigors is back. So that's 14 guys. Out of the 14, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what I said. 8. 8 out of 14. That's better than 50%. I'm proud of myself. So why this is really interesting is because there's a rumor circulating right now from @BoyGreen25, who I think actually covers the Jets. So it makes me feel like this has some legs to it, but I'm not going to get too excited about it. But I just wanted to give you this information. You do with it what you will. I always tell you, I just bring stuff to you, to your doorstep. I drop it off. You can leave it outside or you can bring it in the house. It's up to you, right? But all I'm doing, bringing it to your doorstep, ringing the doorbell, and I'm leaving it there. You can do with it whatever you want. You can do whatever you like. Yeah. Former Jets running back Donovan Edwards is signing with the Commanders. NFL insider Matt Lombardo tells me. The plan, quote, the plan is for Edwards to start on Washington's practice squad. That would be a fun move. That is a guy with some speed that we could definitely use in the backfield. This was a guy that I told you I was interested in us bringing on as an undrafted after the draft happened. I said, I would love to add Donovan Edwards. Once we drafted Bill in the 7th round, I knew they weren't going to double up on the running back position. I just had a feeling they weren't going to do it. But I would love it if Donovan Edwards were signing with the Commanders practice squad. This, first of all, our practice squad is doo-doo. Like, this would add a bit of life to our practice squad because there's not a lot of guys that get you really excited on our practice squad. There's some veterans that I trust. I trust Sheldon Day. I trust Jalen Holmes to do their jobs, right? I like Ja'Cory Brooks. I like his trajectory. I would like to see more. But there are not a lot of those type of guys on the practice squad that get you excited for the future. He would be one of them if he could, if this is true. Again, I don't want you running with this information because we can't confirm this. And Adam Peters said at his press conference, and we're going to get to that, Nikki Javala asked him or said, she made the statement that he didn't put in a waiver claim for anyone. And he agreed, right? He confirmed that he did not put in a waiver claim, right? So, or he did not refute it at least. So for an undrafted like Donovan Edwards, my thought process is that you're going to have to put in a waiver claim for him because I doubt he just clears waivers and you sign him. But that could have happened, right? The other 31 teams around the league were like, we're good. And then the Commanders said, hey, but we'll sign you. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm really interested in that one taking place. We'll see. Again, don't get overly excited. I told you about social media. It's not a safe place. But the only thing that gives me hope is that we have some space on our practice squad. We've got 3 available spaces. They got to do something with them. I'd love for this to be one of the moves that they make. Moving right along. New numbers. It's that time of year. So we talked about who's going to take number 8. Of course, Marcus Mariota said, I got to get this 18 up off me. Mariota goes back to number 8. Makes a ton of sense. That's the number that he donned for much of his career, if I'm not mistaken. When he was in college, I think he was number 8, and I think he was number 8 for the Tennessee Titans. I could be wrong about that. I'm trying to think what number he was. I feel like it was number 8. So it made a lot of sense that when 8 became available, Mariota's like, yeah, let me get this 18 up off me. Let me go to 8. And Tyler Owens was like, well, shit. If I can get this up off me, 40. This 40 is nasty work. If I can get this up off me, don't mind if I do. I don't know if I like 18 on Tyler Owens. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I think it's gonna look weird on him. But when there were 20 numbers available, like I would have loved to have seen Tyler Owens in 25, but he chose 18. Cool. Let's see what he does. I think, and again, don't quote me on this. I think Tyler Owens was 18 in college. He was in the teens. I do know that at Texas Tech. He was in the teens. I want to say it was 18. So if that is in fact the case, it makes sense. It's either 18 or 19, I believe. George Fant, 77, makes a ton of sense. I think that's what he was at one point in his NFL career. And that's a good offensive lineman, a strong offensive lineman number. Colson Yankoff making the switch to 80. Look at Colson. That 41 was hideous, bro. Yikes. Look, anything but that. I don't necessarily love 80 for Colson, but damn it, it's better than 41. I'll tell you that much. And man, the best number switch of any number switch is Javon Kinlaw getting into 99 and getting up off that 52, which was just disgusting to look at. Now, again, I was going to adjust my eyes, but it wasn't a great look. And 99 is the number he wore with the 49ers when he was drafted. So he's going back to his original number. And you know what? 99, somebody's supposed to be dope in 99. You know, it was Clee holding up that number, holding it for hostage, holding it hostage. Get his ass up out of here. Get somebody in that number that's going to do justice to that number and bring some respect back to that number, right? Once upon a time, that number was Chase Young's. You're going to see a lot of 99s popping out. Let's bring some respect back to the 99 jersey. I think we're going to do that this year with Javon Kinlaw. So speaking of numbers, right? Not done yet. Our guy Bill made a business decision today that I love. I knew he was a smart man. And I said, he's going to get an opportunity to get up off of 32. Please do the right thing like Spike Lee and get up off that 32, bro. That is not becoming of you, right? That is not fit for a king, all right? That is not you. You're B.I. double. Act like it. So he was in a quick crunch. He needed a number. He said, hey, hometown, y'all help me pick a number. I need it ASAP, though. As you can see, 18 is already gone. All right, Tyler Owens jumped in and swooped it up. Let's hope he made a very responsible decision, because of these 5 numbers that he had to choose from, which we know, process of elimination, one of them is already gone. 18. 12, 13, 18, 22, and 25. There are only 2 choices here that make any sense. That's the 220 numbers, 22 and 25. Personally, let me get the double deuce, right? Let me get that deuce. Please. 25 is a close second. I'll take either one of those. Please don't put on anything in the teens, bro. Please. I ain't met a running back that could do that yet, that made that shit look. Somebody said, Craig Reynolds. I remember Craig Reynolds. First came in the league with the Lions. That shit was disgusting. I think he's still in Detroit, but I'm pretty sure he changed his number by now. I've never seen an NFL running back freak a teens number. Never. I'm waiting for somebody to be like, yo, actually, such and such wore this number. I ain't seen a dude come in the league, because it ain't been that long since running backs could wear teen numbers. I ain't seen a dude come in the league, willingly choose a number in the teens, and then go freak that shit and kill it. I ain't seen that shit yet. You know why? Because it doesn't happen, because it ain't no such thing as freaking a teens number as a running back. Don't try to be special here. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Go get you a 20s number, bruh, and do the right thing. Hopefully he chose 22. If he took 25, I'll love that too. 12 or 13, buddy. You might as well stay at 32 if you're going to do that shit. So we'll see what happens. The last good 25 we had here was Chris Thompson. Wouldn't mind if he got in there and gave us shades of Chris Thompson, but just faster and more of a every down type back. Last good 22 we had was just here, right? But it was a brief stint where he felt like he was a part of the future of this team, but default, right? So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Stay away from 12, stay away from 13, stay in the 20s, right? So I think he'll make the right decision. I feel confident that he will. Look at what we got here, guys. Look at what we got. Two guys that we've talked about filling out that wide receiver room. Your number 1 and number 3 wide receiver out on the practice field today. Ankle schmankle, right? I said I was going to be interested to see just how banged up that ankle was and how long of a ramp-up period Terry was going to have after being back. Man is out there running routes, catching a football, accelerating. I'm not going to harp on this too long because it doesn't make any sense. I'm just glad it's over with, but they had my man DQ out here lying through his damn teeth. I hate it. I do. Because that ain't even who DQ is. That's why he got upset at the end with the Where's Waldo shit. Because he's like, look, I'm already out here. Can't remember the lies that I told y'all already. Can you just leave me the hell alone and stop asking me dumbass questions, please? And Adam Peters, to his credit, apologized to DQ for putting him in that position, which I loved. Because you definitely put him in a tough spot where he had to come out here and lie about an ankle injury and the PUP list and make up shit that Terry was doing when we all know it wasn't shit wrong with his ankle and he really wasn't on the PUP list for anything other than not wanting to practice due to the contract dispute. So I'm just glad all of that shit is over with. Aren't you? Yeah, I know you are. So just good to see those guys back on the practice field, man. Yikes. I love it. And I know you've seen the clips of him running routes and catching the ball and making cuts. That D-cell looks great, doesn't it, DQ? Huh? That acceleration in that D-cell looks great, doesn't it? You're damn right it does. Anyway, let's get to the conversation, comment section. Not the comment section. Let's get to the press conference of Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. Most of the talking at this press conference was done by Adam Peters, which is what I prefer. And to his point, Adam Peters said, ask most of your questions of me, fire away, because guess what? You guys are going to talk to DQ all season long, and you've talked to him all summer long. So fire away at me all you like, and I'll answer the questions. And that's essentially what he did. So he started off his press conference by giving a quick remembrance of Rick Snyder, who passed away the other day. I want to say it was yesterday, tragically. And a lot of people in the media, were very fond of him. The organization put out a message on social media kind of commemorating him and sending their condolences to his family and loved ones. And so Adam Peters told a quick story about meeting him and and some of the conversations that they had. And then he transitioned from that to the story of Terry's teammates congratulating him once the deal was finalized. And Adam Peters said that he was in his office and they heard a loud commotion after the players were out on the field running. They came in the building and they heard a loud commotion, and he knew it was because of the Terry deal getting finalized and the players congratulating Terry. So he said that was a pretty cool moment. He talked about Terry and his wife, Caitlin, coming up to the building and, you know, signing the deal. We saw the video, right? He thanked the video team for putting all that together. And so he talked about that. And then he talked about some conversations. I thought this was a really interesting dive into how things kind of went, because, you know, it was kind of weird. These hold-ins are weird because you're supposed to be in a dead heat of a negotiation, but the person that your agent is negotiating with, you're seeing this guy every single day, and you're pissed because you feel like he's standing between you and your bank account being as big as it's ever been. And you got to walk past this guy. You got to talk to this guy, be cordial with this guy. And he said that Terry came in the office. They talked a bunch of times. They kind of knew where both, you know, stood. There was no hard feelings. That was pretty cool to hear, you know, because obviously nothing comes out of that building that they don't want coming out of that building. And so all we kept hearing is that they're far apart and that there's animosity and that, you know, there's irreparable damage being done. We heard all this bullshit that wasn't true, by the way. And here's Adam Peters saying, look, I'm not here telling you that this shit was easy. He said throughout this press conference multiple times that these negotiations were tough. There were some tough conversations had. And he said when Terry came to his office on multiple occasions, there were some tough conversations had. But he said it was all respectful. It was never a situation where animus, you know, was had. And he said it was always productive conversations where they were able to stress to one another how they felt about one another. And he said it never was ever a time where we didn't want Terry here, and we were going to make it happen. And we made sure we made it abundantly clear to him. Even when he wanted to trade, we're not trading you, bro. We're going to get this shit done. And so I thought that was a pretty interesting admission by Chef P, right? He also started by thanking some people in the front office, Brandon Sosna, Rob Rogers, who are two of his cap contract guys. Said they did a fantastic job of putting together the contract to make it work. He thanked Josh Harris and said, yeah, thank you for your money, basically, which was pretty cool. And so he then opened up the floor to questions. And he was asked about his level of concern of something not getting done before the season. And he was like, you were always concerned. He's like, the crazy part was, in his mind, something could get done today or it can not get done, you know, at all. Like, it was that kind of fluidity with the situation. But there was always the goal of getting it done. And he even admitted multiple times that this is not the outcome they wanted, obviously. But he said, we wanted to get this done sooner. And he said, I learned from this. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. DQ said when he was asked about Terry and his availability for week 1, he says, quote, he'll be out on the field with his teammates along with Noah Brown today. Plenty of time to get him ready for week 1, close quote. Like, did anybody ever doubt that? Like, we found out, you know, probably 2-3 weeks ago, Terry was running routes in the bubble with Jaden, catching passes. And again, it's not the same as being in the offense, getting the timing and rhythm down whilst being a part of a actual play, right? Getting the depth right, you know, getting everything, the release off the line of scrimmage, all of that good stuff. It's not the same thing, but he was already putting in work. So, like, that wasn't something I or anyone else should have been concerned about. Adam Peters talked about the balance between personal and business with Terry. He said it's a tough thing to balance and juggle. he acknowledged all of the shit that Terry had done off the field, on the field, in the locker room. Like, he's like, you have to take that into consideration. And, you know, sometimes I think people lose sight of that. All those people that were talking about Terry's not worth this, he's not worth that, they're not taking all of those things into consideration. I made it clear that this is not a lifetime achievement contract that they were giving out here. Adam Peters isn't in the business of giving out lifetime achievement contracts. They gave him this contract because they expect him to perform, which is what I said the entire time. Like, hey, look, who here doesn't expect Terry's game to age well? Raise your hand. If you feel that way, then you shouldn't be in the Terry business moving forward. And there were some of you who didn't think Terry would perform at a high level moving forward. And that's your prerogative. But for the most of us, for the vast majority of us, we see Terry's game aging well. He's already the best contested catch receiver in the league. That ages well, by the way. That doesn't go away as you get older. You're going to get slower, not faster. So you're going to need to make contested catches. He's already the best at that. So I don't see how his game doesn't continue to thrive with JD5 throwing him the football. So he said that, you know, you have to separate the personal from the business, but you do take those things into consideration. But there is a balance that has to be had. He then said this, I found this very interesting. Both sides had to give in a little more than they wanted to get this deal done. So I think everything that we heard from the standpoint of where the team started, which was somewhere around that $23-24 million range, which is asinine to me and insane. And Terry starting at $35 million, which is also equally insane. I think both of those were true because he said both parties had to give a lot more than they wanted to make this thing work, right? Both essentially probably moved all the way up to roughly from, you know, $5 to $7 million from where they were to make this deal done, which is crazy that there was that much of a gap to begin with. That's why I feel like it took so long, because with that kind of gap also means there's a really big gap in where the guaranteed money is as well. So he said both sides had to give up a lot more than they wanted to, a little more than what they wanted to make this work, which is what a negotiation entails, right? Which is why I was like, just get this shit done. AP did, you know, clean up the B-Rob situation and trade here. And he said, I had done a video, and that video got shitted on because as soon as I went to put it out, B-Rob got traded and nobody gave a shit. So that video wasn't seen by as many people as it should have been, but I wasn't tripping, right? Because I wanted resolution to that situation anyway. No, I'm not sick. My voice is still recovering from Sunday. And I'm not taking time off. It's too important of a time to just say, well, I'm going to let my voice can rest over the weekend. There's a 4-day weekend coming up that I'm going to enjoy quite thoroughly, I may add. My voice can rest then. I'm not resting now, but I'm not sick. I don't have a cold or anything like that. My voice is just not back. My wife's bringing me some tea home tonight. I'll be fine. Don't worry. I did a video citing 5 reasons that Brian Robinson Jr. became expendable. He literally named 3 of the reasons here. And he talked about the room itself, which we knew they loved their running back room, right? We knew that. He talked about the money, which I thought wasn't a big deal, right? Like, he's only making $3.4 million, but he was like, hey, I could use $3.4 million, which ended up being, you know, $2.2 million because they're going to eat 1.25 of that. And then he said he's in the last year of his deal. And that to me is an admission that, and we weren't going to re-sign him. That's what that means, because it doesn't matter that he was Terry's in the last year of his deal. It doesn't matter that he's in the last year of his deal. What matters is they weren't going to re-sign him. And that's why it mattered that he was in the last year of his deal. So they ended up moving on from him. So I thought that was a pretty, again, pretty adept admission from DQ Adam Peters, because he didn't have to tell us all of that. You know, he could have gave us GM speak and kept it pushing. He talked about the growth that he has experienced via the Terry negotiation. He's like, I grew from this, because this was his first big one. He tried to bring up the Sam Cosmi deal that he did. He said, I did Sam Cosmi last year, and I was like, look, hey, AP, look at me, look at me. He started laughing when I did that. He started laughing because he knew that, hey, bro, that shit wasn't tough, right? Sam wasn't holding out. Wasn't even no conversation surrounding Sam Cosmi. That shit was quietly being done behind closed doors, and it got done. Like, but anyway, he understood that this one was tough. This negotiation was tough. And he said, ideally, you want to get this done before camp, which is what we all said. This needed to be done sometime in the middle of July so that this didn't affect the team the way that it did. But he said, you know, I learned a lot from this. I want to be better. I want these, but every negotiation is different, like he said. And so you can't guarantee that because he learned from this, the next time the deal is going to get done in July, we can find ourselves here again. And remember, and he said something that triggered me in this press conference, because I keep bringing up the San Francisco shit. And I know you guys are probably tired of me bringing up the San Francisco shit, but I'm going to keep bringing it up. Because it's relevant. Until he makes it irrelevant, it is relevant. And he said some shit in this press conference that triggered me. So he did grow from this experience, he said, but I don't know if it's going to make a difference in future negotiations or not. He talked about the confidence level in the receiver room, and he cited the health of both Terry and Noah as reasons why he's confident. Because they only kept 5. And today, in today's NFL, you really want to keep 6 receivers, if at all possible. We wanted to keep 6. Trust me, they really did. It just wasn't a 6th guy to keep. So he said they're confident. And I am very confident in this room as long as we're healthy, right? So he said that they're confident because those guys are healthy. So am I. This is the triggering line from him. He talked about the Terry deal and what helped get it done. And I've always said to you, deadlines spur action. AP remixed it. Remix. And he said, deadlines prompt action. That's that 49ers mentality shit of, I don't really have to do anything until real football is about to be played. So I'm going to drag my feet, kicking and screaming. I'm going to prolong this shit as long as I can until I can't any longer. They had to get Terry back on the field to get him, ramped up for the season. I really believe that this deal could have gotten done a lot sooner by both parties just doing what they ultimately did, which was saying, all right, I'm going to have to give a little bit more than I want to, but this is what I got to do to get the deal done. This could have been done a month and a half ago. Instead, both drug their feet, both tried to hold out, hoping that the other would crack, and neither did. And so I think this is his methodology of how he goes about getting contracts done, right? This conducting negotiations. I just think he's a guy that's going to stay steadfast in what he believes in until he can't stay there any longer. A hard deadline is put in front of him, and now he's got to make a decision. And now he's got to take a step to make something happen, an actionable step to get something done that he really doesn't want to do. And that's what happened in San Francisco with all those contracts, and that's what happened here with Terry, which makes me believe in the future that if it's another one of these kind of stalemate contract situations, this shit's going to linger into the summer, possibly into the fall, just like this one did. He talked about his long-term commitment to Terry. And I love this quote because it's just a reminder to those of you out there that didn't necessarily, think Terry was worth the money, was going to get the money, et cetera, et cetera. He said, quote, and this is AP I'm talking about, quote, we didn't have to. He said, we didn't have to. We wanted to because we believe in him. Speaking of the contract, he's like, we didn't have to sign him to an extension. He's going into he's under contract. contractually, he has to play football here or he won't play football anywhere this year. So we technically didn't have to do anything. We could have let him play out the last year of his deal. If we didn't believe, and this is the conversation I had with y'all about 3 or 4 months ago. When people were like, well, why don't they just trade him? If they don't want him, I said, because they do want him. If they didn't want him, then this wouldn't be happening. There would have never been contract negotiations. Terry would have never been led to believe that he was getting an extension, and they would have traded him. They would have traded him before the draft. If they didn't believe Terry was going to age well, and they didn't believe that Terry was a guy that was irreplaceable in that locker room, on the field, if they didn't believe what he meant to this organization, then they wouldn't have done this. And Adam Peters pretty much said that. He didn't have to do it. Thank you. So I love that quote from Adam Peters. Like, we don't have to do this. We want to do this. Look at my wife taking care of me. Hey, if you don't got one of these, you need to get you one, man. Get you somebody that's going to level you up. My wife hear me over here on the struggle bus. She just walked in the house. That's love, y'all. Real love. Real love. I ain't searching no more. I got mine. He talked about Josh Harris's role in the negotiations. Bae, you gotta give me a new straw, though. This one ain't holding up. It's too hot. It's melted inside the cup. I don't know. You could just get one of my the one from my smoothie. I don't know if it's gonna fit in here or not, though. That's the only thing. Yeah. If not, I'll just drink it. Yeah. He talked about Josh Harris's role in the negotiations. And he said, you know, Josh Harris has been in negotiations like this, not in the NFL, but in the NBA. And, you know, he was a good tool for them going through this. And he talked about, thank you. He talked about how he kind of just gave them the space to operate in this situation. Of course, he was around. He wanted feedback on what was going on, but ultimately he wasn't meddlesome. You know, he gave his input and he let them handle this situation, which is what a good owner is supposed to do. AP was asked about any non-negotiables in this Terry situation. He's like, nah, I really want no non-negotiables. There weren't any things that we just weren't willing to do. It was just, you know, back and forth negotiations. He said, look, it was tough. He said that multiple times. It was tough, but ultimately, you know, there wasn't anything that was a non-starter for us. So he then said the ramp-up period, DQ went through the ramp-up period for Terry, basically said, hey, we got a couple of practices this week, got all the next week, and then by Thursday next week, we'll be able to determine what the situation will be for Terry. I'm like, bro, you already know Terry playing in week 1. You ain't even got to sit here with your bullshit. But you got to do the responsible thing. You got to, you know, make sure you don't talk in indefinites right now. But we all know what time it is, right? We all know what time it is. Adam Peters talked about Terry's impact inside and outside the building. And this kind of piggybacks off of what he talked about when he said, you know, the personal side of this situation, not wanting to mix business and the personal, but he said, Terry's such a good guy. He does it the right way. All the shit we talked about, how he does it the right way, how he's a locker room leader, how he's beloved on the field, in the locker room, and in the community. And I thought that was one of the best things about that video that the team put out. We all know about the Terry the leader and what they're going to say about you when they turn on that film. What they're going to say about you. I know what they're going to say about me. We know about all that. We know about when game balls are being given out and it's a player doing it. We know it's Terry. We know about that. The thing that we don't see as fans a lot of time is the work they do in the community. And it was cool to see Terry out there. And he said, you know, when they get to see me with my helmet off. And that's what you also got to take into consideration. He just does so much. So he was like, we had to get it done, man. Terry's a vital part of who we are, what we do, and what we stand for. Then, and this was the part that I talked about, Nikki Javala pretty much made the statement to DQ. You guys didn't put in any waiver claims. And Adam Peters didn't refute that. I don't know if he not necessarily confirmed that he didn't put in. It sounded like he was like, yeah, no, we didn't put any in. And Ben Standing, I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. He put out a tweet yesterday that he said he reached out to a couple of executives around the league. And they pretty much said this was a pretty ho-humish cut down day, right? Where there weren't a lot of talented guys that get you excited being cut. And I mean, shit, we can attest to that. Our cut down was trash. DQ tried to lie to us at the podium, man. We had some tough decisions. This last comment that we're going to talk about, DQ was like, yeah, we had some tough decisions, man. I mean, it was really tough. I'm like, DQ, why is you lying? I mean, you might have, like I said, I think there were probably 3 or 4 guys that warranted like serious discussion. I really think Jalen Holmes was this close to making the roster, right? But outside of him and maybe 1 or 2 other guys, this wasn't a hard cut down. Most of y'all out there nailed this thing, with the exception of Ale Cajo and Josh Johnson, right? Most of y'all nailed this shit. This wasn't a hard, thing to put together. This was pretty easy because we just didn't have, the depth past the 53 guys on the roster. So him not refuting the waiver claim statement by Nikki Javala makes me think that they didn't do anything, but he didn't say they didn't, right? He just didn't say they did, right? So we'll see. I hope Donovan Edwards is on our practice squad. That would be super dope. And then Adam Peters and DQ finished up by talking about how they feel about the roster. And he said that there's better depth this season, which he's right. This team is deeper than it was a season ago. We talked about that. That was one of the goals of the offseason, was to get better depth, to improve the overall talent, the top end talent, right? The frontline starters, improve that, but also improve the depth behind them. I think we did that. We did that in some pivotal spots. Our D-line is a lot deeper than it was a season ago. Our offensive line is a lot deeper than it was a season ago. Our corners are a lot deeper than they were a year ago. Barring any catastrophes, assuming health, which I'm going to do, and I know this is not a great thing to do with the linebacker position, but assuming health, the linebacker position is deeper than it was a season ago. I don't necessarily think we're deeper at receiver than we were last year. I think we're better at receiver, however. Okay? I do think we're better at that position. Obviously, the addition of Deebo Samuel, pushing Noah Brown back 1 spot, which means you're pushing back everyone else 1 spot, makes us better, right? Noah Brown was essentially our number 2 last year. So this year he gets to be our number 3. So that is a good thing for us. I just think, like, talent-wise, we're a better football team and we're deeper. And so we were deeper at safety last year, right? We went 6 deep last year at the safety position. We're only 5 deep this year, but it could be an improved position. We'll see what Will Harris brings to the table. Revo being fully healthy, and looks like he could be a productive part of the defense. Let's see what that means, right? So I actually agree with them on the depth of this roster and how it's gotten better. Now the question is, how much better are the starters, and can we take the experience gained last year as a football team and apply it this year and be even better as a football team, closing out games, on the defensive side of the football, which is something we struggled with, getting turnovers, and something else, how much improved our special teams. We were really good on special teams last year, but we really didn't have any juice on punt returns, and the field goal kicking situation was not ideal. Can we be better in those two spots? Because we had an all-pro kick returner last year. So it's not like we were ass on special teams. We were really good in the coverage department, and we were exceptional in kickoff. Even when Luke returned kickoffs, we did a really good job. So I want to see that return, but add in the punt aspect and also be better in the field goal kicking department. And I think Tress can be better at punting this year as well. No, he didn't do it a lot, but I would like to see Tress return to form as well this year. I didn't think he was great last season. So let's get to the comment section, and then we will get out of here. Commanders Kings will be live tonight. So looking forward to that. And if I'm not mistaken, Ed and myself will be joining Juan Gotti tonight. So check that out as well. So looking forward to chopping it up with y'all tonight. Commanders King style, as only the Kangs can do it. Dedrick Casey, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Mob, you know what to do. Show Dedrick some love. Welcome him with open arms. Welcome to the squad, Dedrick Casey. Man, this tea is righteous. It is doing some justice right now. This is exactly what I needed. Monster Kev, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Monster Kev writes, laughing my ass off, warm-up basketball guy. Ha ha. Hey, look, man. That is officially Sam Hartman's new title. Jaden Daniels, warm-up basketball guy. So when we see Jaden, home games only, right? Sam shouldn't be making the trip as a guy that is not on the actual squad. Home games only, we should see Sam Hartman walking out to the field with Jaden Daniels with a basketball in his hand. We know what time it is. Warm-up basketball guy. Also, he's great for the morale of this team. Sam's a good guy. Nice, funny, wholesome young man. He serves a purpose. Ben Schmoder, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, had my first 1K view episode, Lou. Feels awesome. Feels good. Feels good. Congratulations, man. It's nothing like it, bro. It's nothing like it when you set certain milestones. I always say, set small milestones for yourself, small mile markers along the way. It makes you appreciate the journey that much more when you set these little goals for yourself and you hit those. When you set the goals so big, sometimes you lose sight of the work and the progress that's being made. I remember that first 1K video and the rush that gave me. I definitely can side with you on that feeling. And so congratulations, man. That's just the beginning, bro. That's just the beginning. What if I can offer you a piece of advice, don't go chasing that 1K though. Like, don't try to model all of your videos like that one. Right? You might have just hit an inside straight with that one. Just be you. Continue to be consistent and be you. Now, if there are certain things you did there and you would like to try them to see if they can continue to work and be successful for you, go right ahead. But don't try to do every video like that one, assuming that that's what people want to see. That may be the case, but don't just assume that that's the case, right? So, congrats, my man. Congrats. Ben Schmoder, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, go Defenders. Show them some respect, Lou. I'm still waiting on that podcast with you and Ed. Still waiting on that podcast. Not. Go ahead and start it, though. There may be some real interest in that. Just not from me. But you already knew that. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me. That was the last super chat. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on The command post live, you know what it is. Post up. Take command. I think I heard, I'm going to check social media real quick to make sure, to see if we signed Donovan Edwards and or if Bill chose a number. I'm invested in Bill choosing a number. So let's see if he chooses a number. I'm going to check on social media real quick. All right, Terry's speaking with the media. So I'll come back and talk about Terry talking to the media. I'll probably do a video on that tomorrow morning. That'll be up tomorrow morning, or I'll just go live tomorrow morning with you guys and talk about it, because you know that's my jam. I love press conferences, so I'll definitely come back. Yeah, he talking to the media, and I can see the smile on his face. That's my guy, man. Everybody, all the media is going to be locked in on Terry, so you're not going to get any information as to a jersey number or if we signed anybody. So I'll have all of that for you. I'm pretty sure you guys will all have the answers by the time we talk about it, but I'm going to go searching for all that information. So when I go through Terry's press conference, we'll have resolution to what number Bill chose, hopefully, and whether Donovan Edwards is a member of the Commanders practice squad or not. So in any event, I digress. I love the conversation about Bill's number, though. Everybody's chiming in on this thing, so I love it. Hopefully, he chooses double deuce. In any event, you guys, I think I got some more comments here. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. JP, thank you for being a member of the MOBB rights. Do you like us to get a really high playoff seed? I haven't really sat down and analyzed the entire conference, to be honest with you. I guess I'll do that sometime next week as I get closer and closer to the season. I'm going to be honest. Our season last year took me by storm, and the offseason wasn't the same as it usually is for me because we were in a different space. So I didn't lock into the other teams as much as I normally do to be able to say, yeah, no, I like us as this or that. Here's what I will say. I do like us to win this division. I will say that. I do like us to win this division. Because there hasn't been a repeat division winner, I don't think the Eagles are going to win it. I don't think the Cowboys are in the right headspace. They got this whole Michael Parsons shit hovering over. That's what I'm talking about. Distractions are real. And he's a big part of their defense. And if he's not out there or that shit continues to linger, that's a problem. I don't see them having the season that they need to. And so, and the Giants could be a surprise team, but I don't see that. Not with Russell Wilson. So it's us. And if we win the division, that means you're a top 4 seed. What the rest of the conference does, what is Detroit going to look like? New offensive and defensive coordinators? I don't know. So we'll see. Does San Francisco bounce back this year? How's Green Bay? Like, there are a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. I like us. I'll just say this, and this is a cop-out, I know. But I like us to be a top 4 seed. I'm not telling you anything because I just told you we're going to win the division. So I'm taking a cop-out. But, yes, I do think we have a chance to be a higher-seeded team this year. I do. Swaggy P, been a member for 34 months. He says, JD was smiling seeing Terry. Me as well. We all were. In unison, we all had a smile on our face. Swaggy P. All of us did. You know? Him smiling made me smile. Either I Simpson or L Simpson. That's my guy Zoe. Lorenzo Simpson. Zoe. Thank you for being a member for 47 months. Salute. What's up with YouTube changing all of y'all names? What, is that a new thing where they use the handles now instead of your actual YouTube names? Shit's throwing me for a loop. I know most of you by now, so, and your thumbnails. Says Edwards could develop into a good third down back in time. I'm willing to explore that. He was, when they won the Natty, that's exactly what he was, a change of pace back. I'd love it if he could develop into that here. That'd be awesome. A backfield with him and Bill. Are you kidding me? That'd be fun. You would essentially go from no speed to an abundance of it in just 2 years' time. That would be great. Corin Smith, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Philly will be 3-2 by the Giants game. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to predict wins and losses. Like, for instance, the Eagles, I feel like they always get the benefit of shit like this. Rashid Rice is going to be suspended the first 6 weeks of the season. The Eagles play the Chiefs within that 6-week period. We don't get the benefit of that shit. He'll be on the field when we play them in week 8. That's just our luck, right? Like, that's the shit that happens. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. We benefited from that last year too, though. You can't complain about it. We benefited from guys not playing against us last year, quarterbacks and things of that nature. So we'll see what the Eagles record. Remember, the Eagles were 2-2 last year, and we're on the verge of being 2-3 if the Saints didn't piss away the game, right? And then they could have been in some trouble. Instead, they won that game and then won like 10 straight until we beat them. So even if they start 3-2, it don't matter. They could get hot. Smacky96. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Smacky writes, saw the invite emails. Can't wait for the games to begin. Yeah, I got busy today, man. Told y'all I'm going to get my shit together. And I'm going to have a video tomorrow, a hype video to, get people excited and get people signing up. Because you know what's going to happen, Smack City. They're going to wait till the last damn minute, like they always do, and turn the shit in at the last second. And then my PayPal, my poor CashApp account is going to shut down on their ass. And like, Louie, I can't send my money in because you got it out here looking like I'm laundering money. That's why. But you know how people do, right? So long as you got your shit done, which you do, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Let them worry about that. Anyway, I digress. You guys have a great rest of your evening. Hopefully you'll come chop it up with the Kings later on tonight. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Looking forward to listening to Terry's presser, seeing what he had to say, seeing the big cheesy grin on his face, and putting that whole situation behind us. You guys take care. God bless and good night. Peace.